just got massive quotes from Craig Breslow breaking down what the rest of this offseason period should really look like for this Red Sox organization. I'm here to break down all of the quotes and new information that we have on this episode of Red Sox Digest, but before we get to that, remember, if you're a part of the 86.5% currently watching this video, not currently subscribed to the channel, and you want to stay up to date on everything Red Sox, scroll down, click the subscribe button. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys so very much. But now let's get to it and break down the massive offseason updates from Craig Breslow. Now, some of these quotes, I'm going to say it now before we even get to the actual quotes themselves. I don't have a problem with this, but there is a slight concern. And the reason I say that is because it seems to be the same exact message we entered the offseason with. Now, it is now December 30th. We are quickly approaching 2025. Without a doubt, it is right on the horizon, but the mentality is still the same, it seems like, from Breslow. Now, we've gone out and made a splash obviously in the arm department. We've gone out and got Garrett Crochet. We went out and got Sandoval. We went out and got Walker Buehler, which is great. I wouldn't say it's an A+ offseason up to this point, but again, we definitely got part of the job done, adding more arms. That was one of the things that we went into this offseason with. It was basically 1A, go get arms, regardless of them being starting arms, bullpen arms. We needed depth. We needed better arms than we had last season, especially going into this offseason. And then 1B would be obviously the right-handed bat conversation, the ability to then level out and balance the lineup as it currently constructed due to the amount of left-handed current batters we have in that lineup. Now, again, this is something we went into this offseason with the idea of. Now, up to this point, we went out and got those arms, but we haven't seen another bat added to this lineup. We've missed out on multiple names, whether it be pitching or whether it be bats. Teoscar Hernandez going back to the Dodgers, despite only asking for roughly $22 million a year. Seemed like despite the year he had last year and the overall production throughout his career, he would have been a great fit for this Boston Red Sox organization, and we didn't go out and give him the money he was looking for, and he resulted in going back to the Dodgers after them not being able to agree initially on a contract. So again, we had some time, we had the ability to go out there, see what the Dodgers wouldn't offer him initially, possibly capitalize on that and go out and get someone like Teoscar Hernandez to balance this lineup. And again, we failed to do so, as well as players like Blake Snell, players like Max Fried. Again, those are different positions. I understand they are arms, and we were able to go out there and still be successful this offseason up to this point. But again, names we were involved with, Corbin Burnes was another one, signed with Arizona recently. Another huge name we were involved with, and it seems like when it came down to the nitty-gritty, we weren't really a big factor when it came down to him actually signing and throwing out an offer that would really incline him to bring him to Boston. So again, how truthful are these actual quotes from Craig Breslow? Now, Chris Cotillo posted this article linked on his Twitter. If you click on the photo, it takes you to the article that is titled, "After Rotation Adds, Red Sox Craig Breslow outlines which moves are next." And again, this was published today on December 30th. So let's get to the nitty-gritty and the actual quotes from Breslow. Cotillo opens up the article with this. Speaking on a Zoom call after the signings of Buehler and Sandoval were made official, Breslow identified two areas: balancing the lineup with a right-handed bat and adding bullpen help as his focus as the calendar turns to January. Now, this is great. This seems like Breslow has the right idea. These are two things we desperately need. But it's the same idea that we had months ago going into this offseason and at the end of last season. Hey, we know what we need. We need to balance the lineup. We need arms, regardless of the position, whether coming out of the bullpen or starting in the rotation. And again, we missed out on some of those names in the starting rotation, again, with Snell and Fried. But we were able to go out and make a splash. So it seems like we have some great depth, and we really added to that rotation. And again, we added some names to the bullpen. And despite having those names for right-handed bat, really possibilities, we have failed to do so. Again, so we'll get to the actual quote from Breslow as he goes on to say, "Given the most of the heavy lifting in the rotation is largely done, I think we'll shift our focus to thinking about how to balance out our lineup," Breslow said Monday. "We've talked about some right-handed bat help to equalize the significant number of left-handed hitters that we have, and then also we'll probably look to add in the bullpen as well." So again, he seems to be content with the starting rotation as currently constructed, but again, wants to now aggressively attack a right-handed bat or possibly a switch-hit bat to really diversify and balance the lineup that we currently have on the offensive side of things. It's just a bit peculiar because we haven't gone out and made that big splash yet, despite having a slew of names available throughout this offseason up to this point. Now, Breslow would go on to say this: "In a perfect world, we're getting elite level production from a right-handed bat out of the middle of the lineup. he said, going on again to say, I think it stretches out the lineup. It balances out guys like Jarren Duran and Rafi and Tristan and Masa and others. And then Breslow goes on to say again, I also think that the production could come from a number of places. There are guys internally that may be able to take a step forward, and we're certainly also engaged in conversations for players that aren't in the organization yet. Now, this is the biggest quote I think that we're going to break down. So he seems to make it apparent that we're still in conversations, whether it be for trade candidates or possibly free agent candidates to acquire that right-handed bat, which is no shocker. It's the offseason. It's the free agency period. We should be extremely aggressive. And honestly, we should have been extremely aggressive a month ago, whether it be for Fried, Snell, Corbin Burns, or that right-handed bat in Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Santander, and again, the list goes on, as there has been a lot of possible options that have yet to land with this Boston Red Sox organization. And again, there are still a few out there, but again, the days and days that go by, the top of the tree, the top of the crop, if you will, are being taken off the board, without a doubt. Teoscar's now back in LA. The pitching prospects, or not pitching prospects, I shouldn't say, the pitching availability is slowly but surely diminishing. Again, Burns is now in Arizona. Snell is now in Los Angeles, and Fried is now in New York. Yes, we've gone out and made that big splash in the starting rotation. We added a lot of depth, but we're not done. And again, with seeing all these other teams being competitive, going out and getting these big names, we have to continue to be consistent and be aggressive to go out and really add these pieces before they are all gone. And we have to go out and get average, if not just below average talent, to really solidify these things we need to check off, again, in the right-handed bat department, whether it be switch hitting bat, or a right-handed bat straight up. So again, we'll move on. Breslow goes on to say, and I quote, right-handed bats that we feel could play well at our park are certainly of interest to us, Breslow said. And he goes on to say it, and we remain engaged on a number of fronts. So again, reiterating the fact that he is very much, and the Red Sox are very much involved in the free agency conversation and or trade conversations this offseason. But again, actions speak a lot louder than words, Mr. Breslow, and I know that may seem very old and it may seem very cliche, but up to this point, again, it's December 30th. We've done a damn good job in the starting rotation side of things, adding average, if not just above average names with good potential in the bullpen, as well as a few older arms in a role, this Chapman and others. Yes, it is good. Could we add a bit more? Absolutely. There's still a slew of names available for the bullpen side of things, whether it be Jeff Hoffman, Tanner Scott, Tim Mason, it goes on and on and on, but we need to go out and make the splash. I know the relievers will go last in this pecking order, if you will, but once they start going, we need to be at the forefront of that, or again, we are going to be a part of the teams that flat out missed out this offseason. Seeing teams like the Orioles and teams like the Blue Jays be very aggressive in trying to add these talents, whether it be Corbin, whether it be Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Santander. We need to step up and be at the forefront of these teams so we are not the ones missing out by the time the offseason actually ends. And up to this point, yes, the starting rotation has added great depth as well as great players and really developed overall this offseason and really improved. It's apparent we are still missing obvious pieces that we went into this offseason with the same mentality that we're breaking down in this video. So again, I know it sounds rinse and repeat, and I know it is rinse and repeat, but actions speak louder than words. Craig Breslow, go out and make the signings. Go out and don't wait for the Dodgers to recorrect the offer they initially offered Teoscar Hernandez to then bring him back, taking him away from the Red Sox. A great option for that right-handed bat to add in this lineup, as we needed power. We need more pop in this lineup. And again, a right-handed bat or a switch-hitting bat would help so tremendously. Teoscar Hernandez taken out from underneath us because we were not aggressive enough to go out and sign the young man to this Red Sox organization. And again, the more and more we wait, the longer and longer that we go on without offering these big contracts and really trying to go out and acquire these big names, they are going to fall off the board to other teams and competitors in that fact. And whether it be the Yankees, whether it be the Orioles or the Blue Jays, who have seen or have seemed to be very active this offseason, whether it results in them actually acquiring these pieces, but at least being involved in the conversations, going out there and meeting with these players, offering them the contracts, presenting an idea that, hey, we do want you on this organization. What is it going to take in order to actually land you in Boston? And that is, it feels like the biggest thing we're missing. Now, if we move on, there's a few things that we have to highlight. The first thing, obviously, we've addressed it a few times in this video. The fact that we have acquired a lot of new names in this rotation, the starting rotation, looks a hell of a lot better than it did going into this offseason. So again, tip your cap to Breslow, going out, making a trade, go out, make a signing for Sandoval, for Crochet, for Buehler. It really is shaping out. But again, the rotation, or the bullpen, we are going to need a bit more help. It seems like we're going to have a 6-man starting rotation, which I'm going to be fine with. It's adding a bit more depth to this Boston Red Sox team that we so desperately needed, as we knew last season. But again, that right-handed bat conversation is not going to just end if we don't sign anybody. We are going to go into next season with a big problem, a glaring problem that we already lived through, something that we knew we needed to correct. And despite knowing that, the inability to go out and sign players, whether it be to a lack of effort, a lack of want to go out and give these players this money, it's to be determined. But as of right now, it seems like the Boston Red Sox maintain the same idea, but also maintain the same level of actions, in the sense that we have not gone out and we have not made that big splash for a right-handed bat, and because of it, we look very, very similar when it comes to looking at the lineup side of things. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. I really want to see Breslow stick to the words that he's saying and actually make the actions apparent behind those words, and actually go out and sign Anthony Santander to add a bit more versatility to this lineup. A switch-hitting bat who can play DH, he can play in the outfield, and again, adds a bit of pop to this lineup that we so desperately need, as well as the ability to bat from the right-handed side of things to really, again, diversify this lineup, as it is very left-handed heavy. Now, let me know down in the comments who you would like to see this Boston Red Sox team go out and really acquire this offseason, with what talent we have left, whether it be Anthony Santander or another right-handed bat, whether it be for trade. Suzuki from the Cubs seems like a big name that is circling around this Red Sox team, whether it means because they are actually in conversations with him, or it just seems like a very good candidate to go out and trade for, and really to add that right-handed bat to this lineup. Again, there's still a lot of different options available for this Red Sox team, but if we do not start making actions that follow the words we are saying, we are going to be sorry, and we are going to be very upset at the end of this offseason due to a lack of moves made. And there's nothing we could say rather than we just flat out did not make the effort, and we did not get the job done this offseason due to the amount of talent and the amount of ability that we had this offseason, if you will, to go out and make those differences. That'll be it for this episode of Red Sox Digest. Again, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this offseason up to this point, and who you would like to see acquired from this point going forward. And I'll see you guys on the next episode of Red Sox Digest. Thank you guys for watching.